Hey guys, Dozy again. Today we are going to be going through Python basics. This is just the very basics. Again, it's aimed at someone who's interested in entering or just interested in cybersecurity and just wanting to know kind of like a starting point. And like I said, this is just to get the ball rolling, just to get you a bit comfortable. It might not it might not be to everyone's taste because many might be well more advanced than what we're going to go through today, but it's nice to just lay a solid foundation. So today, Python basics. um as it says in on the slide here, let's start the ceremony and get it out of the way on the way to becoming programmers. So you can either open up your favorite editor, text editor that is, or type in directly into the terminal, and it's entirely your choice. And one of the first things we want to do is print hello world, which you'll see time and time again. It's always in any programming language. One of the first things we're going to do is just print hello world, and that will actually, that will conclude the initiation period. And so basically we're just saying welcome to Python basics. So we can just do this right here. So I've got here, let's just open up Python 3, print, if I do that right, hello world, and there we go, we've got hello world. So that's got the ball rolling. Now back to our slides. So today we're going to look at variables, numbers, strings, comments, and avoiding some errors which you might encounter, which you'll see as we progress on. Right, so let's begin with variables. Variables can hold values. As you're going to see next, we can either print do's is great, and it'll print it immediately, or we can put it into a variable and it will print variable like it shows here. And I'll give you an example of this in a minute. So just remember, it takes practice to name good variables, as there are some restrictions such as using keywords as variable names, but you'll discover this on your programming journey. So let's go back to Python again. I've got here just launched just in case so I know what I'm doing. Let's print, and obviously this is my opinion, so don't take it as fact. Unless you do believe that, then fantastic. And it's printed it. Now what we can do is we can take that text and we can put it into a variable. And so let's call this variable my variable. And we're just going to do the same. Dozy versity is great. What have I done? Ah, goodness me. You can see. So this is one thing you'll get used to. You're always going to be making small errors. No matter how experienced you are, it's going to be a very common thing. There was no need for me to put that closing bracket there. There's absolutely no need for it whatsoever. So let's try again. So we've got the variable there. It's in there now. Let's print my variable, if I can spell it. And there we go. It's the same thing. Now you'll understand it might not make much sense yet, but variables are going to become very, very important as you develop your programming skills. Very, very important, and it's something you want to get used to doing now. Right, let's move on to numbers. So as you might not be aware, but in Python you can add numbers, you can subtract, you can multiply, you can divide. All right. Now, what happens if you want to use an integer with text in Python? So let's take a look at this now. So we're gonna, using the variable example from earlier, we're gonna try and print this text here, but we've got an integer in our variable here. So let's see what happens when we try that. So back to our screen, miles equal 15, and we want to print. And there's many ways of doing it, so I'm just only showing you, what there is out there, and then the rest is for you to go out there and discover. And this is just to get the ball rolling. Miles. Actually, we could do it in a variable as well. It'd be fine. But we'll try. We'll do it this way. It's fine. Miles is the distance from my house to town. Now, I don't think it's that many miles from my house to town, but for this example, it is. And let's see if I've done it correct. And there we go. So we get an error here. It says type error, unsupported operand type, int and string. So it's not happy about the fact that you're mixing uh, numbers in this case, or integers in this case, with text. So how do we get around this? And one of the things to do is we use a method which is str, or string, and I'll show you what I mean. So if we go back, now we know miles variable is an integer. Now if we were to change this to str, open the bracket, close the bracket, make sure that's in there, so that seems right, I think. And there we go. 15 miles is the distance from my house to town. I mean, it should really be a bit nicer than that. So what we need to do is, if I was to put a space here, and then you get this. So it prints out a lot better. But this is what it is. You need to use this method, which will allow you to use any variables which contain integers, numbers, with your any text that you've got, and that is the way to do it. Right, let's move on. Strings and more is the next section. Strings in Python will, let you do the following. And so, as you can see in this example, using double quotes, you can write it like this. But you can also use single quotes, and that's also valid as well. You can spot an error there. That's me, unfortunately. That is should be a single there. But it's also got the added benefit of where you can use both, as you can see here. Single quotes, and it says Doozy says you can use both single and double quotes, and you can see how both are being used there. Now you can combine strings in Python, as you can see from this example. So we've got first name, we've got last name, and then we've got which is in a variable, and then we've got a third variable which is combining the first name and the last name. Then we're printing that. Right, so let's try this in Python. First name nav. What have I done? Excuse me 1 second. Excuse me, that's first name nav, last name Kang, full name is a combination of first name and last name. And let's print full name. And it's navkang. And that's how you combine strings. Now, there are many other methods that can be used with strings, such as title, upper and lower. And to give you an example of what this does, so if we were to now print full name dot I'm sure it's like this. Actually, no, it's not. Sorry, upper, and you can see it's all capitalized. And we can do the same again by using lower. Now, for you to discover these types of methods, these are all available online, but this is just an example of what you can do with strings. And if we do lower, and you can see it's printing in lowercase. Right, and the last topic for Python Basics Part 1 is going to be comments. So why do we comment our code? So it's easy for others who read our code to understand what is going on. It's also easy for us to understand what is going on when we go back to our work after many weeks or months. Now, unless you've got a fantastic memory, then you don't have to worry. But again, you come back to square one. What if someone else is reading your code? What if someone else is using a program that you've created? Comment makes it easier, not only for you to understand what's going on, but for others to also understand. Now, how do we comment in Python? we just use the hash mark, as you can see here. I mean, some call it the pound sign, some call it the hash, whatever you want to call it. And so if you were to use this hash mark or pound symbol, whatever you want to call it, right? This is a comment, so the interpreter will not process this when you run the code. Always get in the habit of leaving comments in your code. It's one of the best things you do. Is, you know, and it's good practice. And like I said, as you develop your skills, especially in programming, and if Python is something you want to go, I mean, there's many of the languages you might prefer, but Python is something I'm comfortable with, so I only talk about Python. This is best practice. And that kind of concludes for today. I do want to thank you for your time. Um, if you guys want any cheat sheets, there's a website which I created. I actually created it as personal use. It's navkang.github.io/doozy with a capital D. I actually created this for personal use so I can remember commands or syntaxes, do you know, when I'm doing CTF? So you're more than welcome to check it out. There's some cheat sheets and there's something about networking and some other stuff. If you do get the chance, please check it out. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'm sorry if it's been a bit fast paced than normal, but it's just to explain the basics. Um, Thank you for your time.